Hey, family. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so we're going to read tonight from the Holy Megillah, the Ten Commandments of Moses. I think it's time. It's been a while since I did them on here, and I don't even think I've done them separately yet, so this is really good. They're just going to be the commandments, and we're going to read a little bit about the golden calf. Some light bulbs went off tonight when I was reading about this golden calf. I just hope that the same thing happens for you. But this is for the newbies. In case you haven't had a chance to watch the video that's on my channel, it's actually a series. It's in a playlist, the Book of Moses. It's very different than the story of Moses that we were given in the King James Version. So that's important. And I'm going to give you a little snippet of it here so you could get a little familiar with it, so you know what it's talking about when you hear them say the Aaronite Torah, so you'll know its origins. All right, so we're going to get going. Get your thinking caps on, y'all. And let's get going. We'll just read a little bit here from Wikipedia just to sum it up in case you guys aren't familiar with the story of the golden calf from the King James Version. It says, according to the Torah and the Quran, the golden calf was a cult image made by the Israelites when Moses went up to Mount Sinai. In Hebrew, the incident is known as the sin of the calf. It's first mentioned in the book of Exodus. Bull worship was common in many cultures in Egypt. The apis was a comparable object of worship which some believe the Hebrews were reviving in the wilderness. Through the process of religious assimilation and syncretism among the Canaanites, some of whom would become the Israelites, the bull was widely worshipped as the sacred bull and the creature of El. The biblical narrative: Moses went up to receive the Ten Commandments. He left the Israelites for 40 days and nights, it says. They got scared thinking that Moses wasn't coming back, and they demanded that Aaron make them a god who shall go before us. Can you believe that? I mean, after they just seen the Red Sea part and stuff, like they got scared like that. Like, I'd have been straight. I'd have been like, wherever Moses at, we'll be all right. We gonna wait for Moses to get back, right? But this is the narrative. This is the biblical narrative. So then Aaron built an altar. So early next day, the people offered up burnt offerings and brought sacrifices of well-being. So they did sacrifice some animals. They sat down to eat and drink and then rose to dance. Yahweh told Moses that what the Israelites were up to back in camp, that they had turned aside quickly from the way of God, from the way which God commanded them, and he was going to destroy them and start a new people from Moses. Moses pleaded that they should be spared, and Yahweh renounced the punishment planned for God's people. Moses went down from the mountain, and seeing the calf, he became angry and threw down the 2 tablets of stone, breaking them. It says that Moses burnt the golden calf in a fire, ground it to powder, scattered it on the water, and forced the Israelites to drink it. Damn. When Moses asked him, Aaron admitted to collecting the gold and throwing it into the fire. He said it came out as a calf. All right, let's get to the book of Moses, because it's a lot different. It's in the Holy Megillah. So this is the beginning of the book of Moses, and I just came up here to read a little bit about the last conversation that Moses had with Pharaoh, because it goes right into explaining who Aaron was. Let me tell you, the plagues didn't come from God in this story either. In this Holy Megillah, the plagues were from eating diseased meat. I think I should have showed you where it said that Pharaoh had no distinction between, he didn't care. They were all Jews to him. So this is verse 36 when Moses gets back. So Moses told Pharaoh why he had been gone for 7 years and revealed the identities of his birth parents. Then he told him, I know the source of this plague. So Pharaoh replied, because I make no distinction between Nazarene Jew and what you call a Jacobite Jew, I had not noticed the absence of sickness among the Nazarenes. First, I will order an investigation. So that's what Pharaoh did. And when Pharaoh came back and saw that it was true, he said, Moses, I'm in your debt. Behold, you may ask anything of me. Moses replied, let my people go. No, he did though. He said, let my people go. Release all of the enslaved Jews, Nasarean and Jacobite alike. So this is how they all were considered one people, but they were never one people. So when you hear Yeshua say their scriptures are not our scriptures, it's going way back. It's going all the way back to this story, okay? The Red Sea was parted, they got across, and then the Jacobite Jews that were following Aaron, they were ready to start eating meat again. Aaron laughed mockingly and said, you are no longer in charge of my people. We will always remember your help, Moses, but your help is no longer needed. You are not our king, neither are you our high priest. Take your Nazarenes and return to Cush. So that was what Aaron told. And then Moses was upset, so he climbed on a mountain to spend the night in prayer. And he knew he couldn't force the Jacobites to obey his words, and he knew that it was time to take the Nazarenes to Cush. This is when he got the Ten Commandments because of what they were about to do, right? He went to Jaja and Elohim in prayer, and Yahweh spoke to him. Yea, Jaja, our God and Goddess transcendent, and Elohim, God and Goddess immanent, whispered in his ear. And Moses desired to write down what was whispered in his ear, but had no parchment. Wherefore he took a stone, the shape of a tablet, and a tool good for carving. And in the stone he chiseled the Ten Commandments, and these commandments were for the Jacobites and all nations and religions that desired to return to the true YHWH. Receive now the Ten Commandments that Moses carved upon the stone tablet for all nations and religions. Hear me, O Israel. If you would have joy in your life and abundant blessings rather than pain and misery, keep these commandments. 1. Within the One YHWH is both God and Goddess, wherefore worship both the Father God and the Mother Goddess, that you be centered in the all. Within the creation is a spark of the Creator, wherefore know yourself. Within every creature is a spark of the Creator, wherefore respect all living things in the manner that you respect yourself. YHWH desires that all creatures live in nonviolent cooperation, wherefore walk softly on Mother Earth, seek nonviolence, and make no laws that conflict with the way of Yahweh. Yahweh does not sanction violent warfare. Wherefore, any religious scripture or prophet that declares otherwise either lies or is in ignorance and should not be obeyed. You shall not kill any creature for pleasure, nor for profit, nor for food. You may eat the milk and the eggs of animals that are well cared for, but know this, these foods are for this world only, for in the lower heavens the cherubim eat but fruit, and in the higher heavens they eat only heavenly essences. You shall cultivate honestly within yourself and in every relationship. You shall forgive yourself when you stumble, and likewise forgive others their shortcomings. Love Yahweh within and around you, and love every creature as yourself. For lo, love is the way, the truth, and the life, and none find Yahweh except by love. Let all Israel receive these 10 commandments, for behold, these commandments are not only for Yisra'el, but for every nation and religion. And then Moses went to the Jacobite encampment. And when Moses entered the Aaronite encampment, he saw them making weapons. And in the center of their camp, they had built an altar. And on the altar, they were sacrificing a calf. And it says Moses was moved with compassion for the calf, whose golden fur was stained red with blood. And Moses declared to them who danced before the bloody sacrifice, gather all your people to this place, for Yahweh has given me 10 commandments for all the people of this world. Call your people here, and I will declare the 10 commandments. Then Aaron said to Moses, it will take some time for these people to gather. Walk with me for a while and talk, for lo, I wish to be the first to receive the 10 commandments. So after Moses read the 10 commandments to Aaron, Aaron was angry and shouted, how dare you force your religion on us? Your commandments are Nazarean and are not for us. We believe in no goddess, and our Yahweh is a God of war. He is an angry and jealous God, and he makes war on those who stir his wrath. You have rendered us a service, and for that I will spare your life, but you will no longer again enter our encampment. If you approach our encampment, you will be killed. Moses, deeply saddened, said, I ask one thing. Since you will not permit me to enter your encampment to read the Ten Commandments to your people, I ask you to read them to your people. So it says Aaron did not keep his agreement with Moses. Lo, he took the tablets of stone with the Ten Commandments of Moses and broke it. These commandments are from the Nasarean Yahweh, but I will ask my God for guidance, and I will write commandments for my people, yea, and I will rewrite our scriptures, for the scrolls were burned by the Egyptians, and all that remains are the stories of the elders. Okay, so now we know where the Aaronite Torah comes from. It was Aaron's rendering of their scriptures and the commandments that he received from his God. He didn't even use Moses' commandments. Lo, the words of Aaron were but lies, for Aaron was no brother of Moses, and the scriptures that Aaron wrote put many words in the mouth of Moses that Moses had never spoke. Moses led the Nazareans to Cush. That's what happened to Moses. He didn't die in the wilderness and God take his body, none of that. Read the rest of this book of Moses to find out what happened to Moses. But he lived his life out, and then he ascended to El Cush. Yeah, can't stand how they dogged Moses out. But he wasn't even a part of their religion, so now you kind of know why the story was so bad. Remember, he didn't get to go into the promised land because he struck the rock twice instead of once. Like, there's he actually lifted up the serpent on the pole in that story. Like, Moses didn't do none of that in this holy Megillah. All right, so that was something else. The Ten Commandments, they're definitely different than the ones we were given in the King James Version in the Torah. And now you may have a slightly a better understanding, because I skipped over a lot. And the same thing that was in the Megillah that was in the Moses story was that the calf was golden. So Moses was moved with compassion for the calf, whose golden fur was stained red with blood. So there's that golden calf. I'm still thinking about how Lucifer said he was going to mix good words into their scriptures, and they're going to have an effect because they're words of truth. The calf was golden. He was a golden calf, but his fur, he wasn't made of gold, you know? And the way these stories are told to us in the King James Version, you have to start thinking, where else are calves or cows held highly, where there will be, like, you consider it called worship, right? Where? Y'all know. Y'all seen it before. A lot of people are scared of this. A lot of people are scared of the Krishna and his cow, and they don't even want to go and check it out because of the story that we were given about this golden calf. Well, they weren't worshiping it, they weren't respecting it, they weren't loving it, they weren't doing any of that. They were sacrificing it, a calf, and they were eating them. Okay? And so it's a difference than what's happening in India. Sanctity of the cow. In Hinduism, the belief that the cow is representative of divine and natural beneficence and should therefore be protected and venerated. So I hope that a lot of people can take the time to do the research and figure out what is happening around them in the world and stop being, told everything. Because in India, the cows are protected and venerated. Okay, so it's a different form. It's not worship, it's veneration.